In this edition of Locked On Capitals, Alex Ovechkin scores goal number 801. He scores goal number 802 to pass Gordie Howe. Let's talk about that next on this edition of Locked On Capitals. Let's go!
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome into this historic edition of Locked On Capitals. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. As always, this podcast is free and available on all the major platforms. And I want to thank you for making this your first listen or view of the day. Yes, this podcast is also available in video form, so head on over to YouTube and check it out. And when you're on YouTube, make sure and hit that subscribe button. And if you like the videos, give it a thumbs up or leave some comments. It really helps grow the channel. My name is Dan Holme. You can find me on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Locked On Caps. So in this edition, this historic Alex Ovechkin edition of Locked On Capitals, Alex Ovechkin scores goal number 801 to tie Gordie Howe and number 802 to pass him. What a feeling. What a great time to be Alex Ovechkin and Washington Capitals fan, just in a historic night as he picks up 2 goals against the Winnipeg Jets at home. Wow, what a feeling. Wow, what a great time to be an NHL fan. And this is all happening in our lifetime. Just think about it. This is a generational thing if you think about it. Wayne Gretzky last played in 99 and Howe last played in 1980. That has been some time. Why don't you stop and think how old you were in 1980 and in 1999? I think that some of the listeners of this show or viewers of this show probably weren't alive in 80 or 99. So just think about the gravity of the situation, and you got to witness it in real time. Whether you witnessed it live or on television, it was a great night. And just an historic night all around for Alex Ovechkin. And what this is for me, and what it is in actuality, is a story of a life in hockey that has come to fruition. You know, Alex Ovechkin didn't just start picking up hockey just the other day. He has been playing hockey his entire life. And the ball got really started kind of rolling with him when he was only 16 years old. This is a long time coming for Ovechkin. Ovi started playing for Dynamo Moscow of the Russian Superleague when he was just 16 years old. And that's why you're starting to see all these milestones come. You know, this guy has been working on his craft his entire life, and now he's starting to bear the fruits of that. Just, you know, he's in an elite company right now. When you think about it, the only one on top of him is Wayne Gretzky, and that is quite a milestone if you think about it. I don't know how he can even wrap his head around something, you know, and when he does that, it's going to be a really special moment when he can do that. And just looking at the Ovi goal tracker, his projected season of record is the 2024-2025 season. Alex Ovechkin will pass Wayne Gretzky, and it's going to be something when he does that. And if you think about it in those kind of terms, that you know, it's not that long, you know, considering it's 2022 and it's going to be 2023 here very soon. He is going to pass Wayne Gretzky a lot sooner than any one of us ever really thought. And wow, just a really great moment. Again, to be an Alex Ovechkin fan. Alex Ovechkin passed Gordie Howe for the second most tonight, getting 801 and 802. Now the only name above the Washington Capitals captain on the goals list is Wayne Gretzky with 894. I can't get over it. It was a special night for everyone. It was a special night for Ovi. It was a special night for his family. Ovi was talking about, he said, very emotional. He adding, it's special. They give me the support, and this is pretty big. It's an historic moment. It's nice to be in the category of players. It's pretty cool. And, you know, a certain thing about Alex Ovechkin is you could tell it was something that weighed on his mind for quite some time. When am I going to pass Gordie Howe? When is it going to happen? So for him to finally get over this hurdle and concentrate on helping the Capitals win games, that's important. Wayne Gretzky is on the horizon out there. He can worry about that in time. Right now, the spotlight can get taken away from him a little bit, and he can worry about helping the Capitals win games, because that's what it's all about. That is what is most important for him. But on finally passing Howe, Ovi said, I had chances in the last game. I knew sooner or later it was going to happen, Ovechkin said. And then there was the funny thing with going back and forth from Kuzy. Kuzy doesn't want it. Ovi doesn't want it. Someone score the puck, for God's sakes. It's the kind of situation where if you have the chance, take it or don't. Ovechkin said, I give it to Kuzy, and he's like, I don't want to take it. But after that, it's a special thing. And, I got to think that, probably Alex Ovechkin didn't think that he was going to pass Gordie Howe on an empty netter, but it seems quite apropos considering what has happened this season. In any event, it is a legal goal, and he has passed Gordie Howe. Again, I can't overemphasize and just encapsulate what I'm feeling. Just a really special night to be a Caps fan going forward here. We look to see what Ovi can do just as he keeps knocking down these milestones one after the other. And just taking a look back at it out there, Gordie Howe, when we talk about it, what is so significant, like I talked about off the top of the show, is that these players haven't played in quite some time. And for Ovechkin to have been able to do these things, considering COVID that went on and considering the lockout seasons, it is quite impressive. And this is a time and this is an era where goal scoring is very low considering what it was back in the heyday. Could you imagine how many goals Alex Ovechkin would have scored back in the 80s and the 90s when players were scoring a lot more goals? And you could ask the question, why aren't they scoring as many goals now? I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and get all into it, but I would say that primarily it's a different goalie style. It's more of the butterfly style. You're also seeing different size pads and different things like that. But in any event, it is harder to score goals nowadays. So for Alex Ovechkin to be able to do that is even more impressive for me in a lot of ways than when Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky, not to diminish what they did. They were great hockey players, but for me, Alex Ovechkin is the better goal scorer, and in time that will be proven. And for me, pound for pound, he is the best hockey player, period, of all time. And I don't think there's any real debate out there. And I've heard some people talk about it. They said, well, if you had to pick who is the second best hockey player, if it's not out there, they're saying that it is Sidney Crosby. And for me, I don't think that's even really a real competition for me. I know that he's had some pretty good seasons out there as well, but I don't think that Sidney Crosby is really even in the same category as Alex Ovechkin, because, oftentimes as a Capitals fan, you hear the comparisons all the time about, who's better, Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin. And of course, if you're a fan of the Penguins, you are going to say Crosby, but there is no mistaking it. Alex Ovechkin is by far the better player. Ovechkin's pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's record 894 goals really shouldn't be that surprising. Gretzky played in the high octane 80s, like I was talking about. And then you have Ovechkin playing in this era where goals aren't as nearly abundant. Which active player is closest to Ovechkin? And, like I talked about, that's the crazy thing. People are saying Sidney Crosby, who had 517 career goals entering the 22-23 season. At the time, he was 263 goals behind Alex Ovechkin. There is not enough runway in the world for him to catch Alex Ovechkin. So kind of dream on, Sidney Crosby. I know for me who the better hockey player is. All right, so after the break here, we will continue to talk about the historic evening of Alex Ovechkin as he finally passes Gordie Howe. We'll talk about that next. Did you know that driving high is considered driving under the influence? That's right. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every state, even in states where marijuana is legal. That means driving high could get you a DUI. And if you think law enforcement officers can tell when you're driving high, you're wrong. Your friends can tell, your coworkers can tell, even your parents can tell, everyone can tell. So what makes you think law enforcement officers don't know when you're driving high? Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your process time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive when you're high, you're not, because the bottom line is if you feel different, you drive different, and driving high is under the influence. So remember, drive high, get a DUI. All right, welcome back into this historic edition of Locked On Capitals as we talk about Alex Ovechkin finally passing Gordie Howe. Finally, we can put that all away. the significance, we heard about all that. What if he did it when he was playing against the Red Wings? The significance is Gordie Howe played there. What if he did it against the Maple Leafs? Ilya Samsonov was his former netminder. As it turned out, none of that was very significant. He did it against the Winnipeg Jets, which there's really no significance. But the joy of it for me and the happy part of it is he was able to do it at home in front of Capitals fans. And wow, what a great evening. So when you take a look, he is in quite elite company out here. As we know, Wayne Gretzky, 894, Alex Ovechkin, 802, and you go down the list, all the players he's passed in the process: Jaromir Jagr, Brett Hull, Marcel Dion, Phil Esposito, Mike Gartner, Mike Messier, Steve Yzerman, Mario Lemieux. Those are some elite names. If you're an NHL fan, I don't need to tell you that, but and if you take a look at his trajectory, it is going up. There is a chart on Google, and it just shows his chart going up. So even though Alex Ovechkin continues to get older, he is aging like a fine wine, and that was proven out there tonight as he ended up passing Gordie Howe for the second most goals of all time. Again, the only player in front of him now is Wayne Gretzky. It doesn't get any better than that. And again, a great time to be a Capitals fan, a great time to be the fan of the NHL. Just a special night. That's why I did this episode for you tonight. Generally, we don't do episodes on Saturday or Friday night going into Saturday, but this is a monumental moment. So I wanted to take this moment to talk about Alex Ovechkin and a historic night. I feel very special to be, somewhat included this in somewhat, being that I cover this team for Locked On. Just a special moment for me covering this team. And to share this moment with you was really great. I also want to take this moment to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all of you that listen, either if you're listening to the show or watch it on YouTube. You guys mean the world to me. I love that you guys listen to the show day in and day out. Monday's episode will be a Locked On Sports Today podcast, which is like the best of all sports, but I will have a segment on there as well. There's a segment on there on Aaron Judge and the Colorado Avalanche. It is a must-watch episode, and that will drop on Monday on this channel, so make sure and check it out. So once again, thank you for joining me on this special edition of Locked On Capitals, and I'll talk to you again next time.